Well, fuck me. I had this whole goddamn thing typed out and then my computer died, so now I gotta rewrite this whole fucking update again. Anyways, here's part 1, part 2, and part 3 in case you've missed any of them. If it wasn't for all of the support and the PMs asking when the next part would be out, I wouldn't have even bothered typing out this again. But I know the feeling of getting your daily fix, and I didn't update yesterday due to some events. So, I guess I'll start over. Anyways, fuck me. Let's just get started. Again. I ended the last update with me driving away from the motel parking lot, and after a few seconds of me pulling out, Mike pulled in. If I hadn't left a few minutes later, he would have caught me in my room, packing my shit, or me packing everything up into my car. Did he think I was an idiot that I wouldn't change places after he ended our conversation with, "You'll see me sooner than you think"? Or maybe he's just having a fun time just like I am with this game. After all, you don't take up this line of work without at least partly enjoying killing people. I'm probably giving him the same rush he's giving me, in that he probably doesn't even expect his clients to actually go after him or even know that he's coming. Anyways, I got to the next hotel and took a shower. It was a shower that I desperately needed again, while singing that stupid Iggy Pop song, IGGY, Who Dat, and Shake My Ass. It's like a fucking brain parasite, and the only way to get it out is to sing that song of its people, or some shit, I don't know, sue me. After I got out of the shower, I passed out on the bed after having almost killed myself a few hours prior, but when I woke up, I knew I needed to get going again. After all, I was it. I went to Walmart to pick up a new phone, and some supplies and a few suppressors. Yes, I said suppressors instead of silencers. You happy now, fuckers? Anyways, as I was walking down the aisles watching all these fat-ass Americans on their scooters because they're too fucking lazy to walk, I started contemplating about how Mike even got my number. I picked up a new phone and a few cans of Cheese Whiz, along with a few other supplies for my suppressors. And no, I'm not getting into how I was making them. I just pulled up the first guide online that showed me how, and they were a real pain in the ass to make. A few of your guys' suggestions on how to make them seemed a lot easier, to be honest. Anyways, as I was checking out, I took out my cash and looked at the phone that I was about to buy. It dawned on me that when all of this started, I paid for the first throwaway phone with my card. I'm such a fucking idiot. That's probably exactly how he tracked me down. I paid for everything that I got and went back to my hotel. The first thing that I did was do some research to see if it was possible to get a phone's ESM MEID number just from a purchase. It turns out it was possible to do. It just was a little difficult going through Walmart's purchase database or the phone's manufacturing database. Fuck, another mistake on my part. If I keep up like this, I'm going to end up dead. I took the rest of the day to make the suppressors for myself, and they turned out pretty good, except for the huge fucking Cheese Whiz mess I had to clean up. I now had one for my 9mm and one for my P90. After all that was done, it was dark out. I wanted to see if Mike would somehow be able to find me with no card activity or cell phone at his disposal. So, I waited. A day passed, then 2, then 3. After about a week and 3 hotels later, I figured he was only able to track me when I was using my card, or slipped up somehow like anyone who doesn't know a hitman is following them would do, unless he was watching and studying me the whole time, which I doubt he was doing. By the end of the week of sleepless nights and constant looking over my shoulder, I was almost completely out of cash on hand. I knew I needed to hit a bank or an ATM, but as soon as I withdrew, they would know that I did and the location I got it from. After I did a bit of thinking about this, I figured I could actually use this to my advantage. So, I set out a little surprise for old Mike. After all, a week prior, he set me up. so I figured I would return the favor. I traveled about 30 minutes up the very outskirts of northwest Las Vegas. I found an area that seemed perfect. My bank on one side, and the desert, with a lot of boulders and Joshua trees on the other side. As I was surveying the area, on one of the corners near the bank, I saw an ATV with a for sale sign on it. I went to the door and rung the bell. A nice typical suburban dad answered, with his little girl right behind him, hugging his leg and looking up at me. Can I help you?" he asked. "Yeah, actually, I saw that you had the Yamaha ATV for sale and was wondering how much it was." He told me it was $1,500, and I told him that I was interested. We shot the shit for a while, and he told me about his family and that they just had another little girl, so he had no time or money or anything to keep that thing around. "You know, my time of fun and fucking around is on hold for a few moments, I guess," he said, laughing a little bit. I laughed back, and while I was looking at him, I kind of envied him. If I had a girl that I loved a lot, and some little ones that meant the world to me, I wouldn't be doing what I currently am doing, but that's neither here nor there. Sorry, I'm rambling. I told him that I was interested in getting it now, and asked if it was okay if I ran to the bank and grabbed some cash. He said that that would be fine and that he would be waiting outside. I got to the bank, and as I was about to put my card in the machine, a thought grabbed my attention. As soon as you pull out this money, you're gonna have a time slot until Mike comes and checks out the area. I mentally prepared myself and pulled out the cash. It was time for us to meet again. This time, on my terms. I ran back to the man's house with the ATV, and he was outside checking everything on it. I handed him the cash and gave it a quick test drive around the neighborhood. I got back in a minute or two and thanked him and wished him luck on his newborn. I got in the car and told him that I was going to park it around the corner at the nearby park and come back for the ATV, as I was going to be riding it today. He said that that was fine, and I took off. As soon as I was parked at the park, I literally ran back to his house and hopped on the ATV. I had just pulled out the cash and knew Mike couldn't possibly be on his way already, but something inside me knew that I couldn't involve this nice gentleman that I had just bought this thing from. I wouldn't put it past Mike to break into their house and kill everyone just to get a hint of my location. I drove the ATV back to the park and parked it right behind my car. I got my backpack out from the back seat and put on my homemade suppressors and my 9mm in there. I slung the P90 over my back and also wrote up a few paper targets and put them into my bag just in case I got stopped by the police. At least I had an excuse that I was just practicing my shooting out in the desert. I eventually got about 400 to 500 yards out into the desert across from the bank. I set up one of the targets and fired 2 shots from both of the homemade suppressors for each gun. They both worked really well, with only the smallest sound coming from each of them. The sun started to set behind the mountains, and I got set up and parked my ATV behind a large boulder. When it got completely dark, I got on top of the boulder and lied down. I put on a black ski mask and a black shirt so I couldn't be noticed out in the open. I flipped the cap to my scope on my P90 and looked through it. I could see the bank dimly lit inside, as well as the parking lot. Now, all I had to do was wait. It had been about an hour and a half to 2 hours since I had tucked the money out, and figured that Mike should be rolling up by now, or possibly just soon. I waited silently, just watching people come and go from that bank. But no Mike. Around 11 o'clock or so, I finally saw his black car pull up. He drove around the bank once, and then parked it in front. I immediately noticed that his plates weren't on his car, which struck me as odd. He got out and walked up to the ATM and had something in his hand with wires attached to it. He put it in the machine and turned his back to me. Perfect. I flipped my safety off and took the shot. Boom. Center mass. He fell into the machine and pulled out his gun. How in the fuck is he moving? I shot him right through the fucking back. He ran and ducked behind his car. I aimed for his tires Back right tire, gone. Boom. Back left tire, gone. At this point, he knew the direction that I was shooting from and popped his head out. He shot twice in my direction, but he couldn't see me in the darkness. It was great. I had another huge smile on my face. Now you know what it's like to be trapped, you son of a bitch. But this time, you have no getaway vehicle. Alright guys, I was planning on going further, but this is all that I think I can do today. I'm done for the day as far as writing goes. I'll update tomorrow and hopefully finish the series up in the next few days. I'll stick around for a bit more time to answer your questions and whatnot. Thanks for reading. Until next time. Thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed it. It's probably going to be maybe 3 parts, most likely. There's quite a bit of the story, but this was the first story I ever heard, like horror story wise, on YouTube. This was my very first story I ever heard. But ever since I started YouTube, I wanted to do this story. This is the #1 story I've ever wanted to do. So this is kind of more for me than more for you guys, because this is a big deal for me. It may just seem like a story that everybody's heard, but I'm gonna get those comments and I really do not give a fuck, because I've been waiting to do this story for a very long time, and I finally heard back after, I think I waited for about 6 or 7 months to get a reply. But make sure to like, comment, and if you're new to this channel and you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe. I will say, if everybody does want to hear the next parts, I will do the second series. There are 2 series of this story, so just know that. But make sure to check out the links in the description as well, like Twitter, Instagram, yada yada, you know the basis. But with that being said, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm so fucking excited.